All right, guys. Here in JR's awesome man cave, here in the with the bird that you guys saw earlier in this episode. I apologize if you're hearing the wind on my microphone. It's hotter than a meth pipe in Lawrence County, Ohio, on payday. It's like 100 degrees. So we picked the best, perfect time. The most opportune time to do this when it's super hot. So you're probably asking yourself, well, first off, before we get any further, see these sweet Solar Brat sunglasses I have on here. Solar Brat's running a Labor Day sale, so go out and check that out. You can go check our social medias to find that out. But anyway, what are we doing today? Well, we're here on JR's boat. You can see right here on the deck is a Humminbird Mega 360. But if you look up here, we have a Garmin. We're going to attach this to the Garmin. No, we're not. That would be cool if we could do that, huh? Can't do that. So what we have, JR has picked up 2 used Humminbird Helix. So we're going to put this up front. There was a 9 up there before we started. JR took that off, the Garmin 9. So what we're going to have here, we're going to have this Humminbird 12, a Helix 12. So first off, if you don't know the difference between a Helix and a Solix, the Solix is touchscreen, Helix is not. Everything has to be D-pad oriented, but JR is just going to use this basically for 360 up front. He's got one we're going to put back here for a side scan, so touchscreen is not going to be super important. He has that on the Garmin's. So what we have to do is we're going to mount this up front. We have to mount the Mega 360 on the Garmin Force. Now, the problem with that is that you buy these things either for an Ultrex, which comes with this mount right here, or you buy a universal mount. Well, there is an adapter that was made here by Bass Fishing LLC, Bass Fishing Electronics. This is a BFE. That's pretty cool. BFE 033. So this is going to either attach to this or take the place of this. We haven't figured that out yet. We're going to get into it. So what we have to do, this has the E2 harness in it, factory. So everything is powered up over there. So we have to run a power wire, which is here. We're going to run this through the hull up there. We're going to connect it to that E2 power harness, which there's basically a fuse box there. We have to plug this in. We have some ring terminal connections. We're going to put those on there. They are waterproof. They have heat shrink already on them. We're going to heat shrink them, put this up. So we have to have power to the 360 unit. Now, I've been doing some research when it comes to this, and everybody says to put a power switch in line in this so you can turn this on and off. Now, why would you do that? Well, basically what you have inside of this Humminbird Mega 360 is something that's spinning the whole time. Now, the awesome engineers at Humminbird have figured this out, that this thing would just spin constantly, and it's going to spin in there constantly, keep going. So it will cause a lot of stress on the unit, but this actually has a wet switch on it. So actually when it gets wet, it'll start spinning. But it does have a feature in your graph that is looking for it to wake up, or looking for it to come on. So it does use a little bit of power. In our case, we're not going to put a switch on it because JR is running lithium batteries. He has more than enough power. But if we see that his batteries are going dead, we can always, cut that wire, put a switch in there. He does have some spot up there. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to get the graph mounted up there. We're then going to put the 360 on there. We're going to run some wires to get power to this and this. And that will actually take care of everything up front, except we're going to have to network the back and front Humminbird. Again, we are putting a Helix 12 back there as well. So we'll run an Ethernet cable as well as we're going there. So once we get that installed up here, that's basically going to take care of the front graph installation, installing this on the trolling motor, installing the 12-inch unit up there, running power to this, and running the data cable from here to here. One thing that I do want to mention here is that on your data cable for your 360, it normally comes like this, which would get connected directly into a Solix unit. You actually have to have an adapter that comes with the unit, so it plugs into here and then goes into the back of the connector. The connector is upside down here, obviously, but this connector right here is what goes to the 360. So we're not going to bore you to death with the installation of this. We'll go ahead and get this installed up there. We'll run power back there. We'll get this powered on, and then we'll show you how we're going to install this. That'll be basically the biggest meat and potatoes of this video. So stay tuned. We're going to install some Helix 12s and a Mega 360. All right, quick update. We got this mounted. Just realized we don't have enough wire to run the power to this, so we're going to have to make another run to the parts store. But so far, if you look here, this is the mount we were talking about, the Bass Fishing Electronics mount that goes on to the Garmin Force trolling motor. So normally, JR bought the one for the Ultrex, which comes with obviously the mounting bracket from the Ultrex. This right here from Bass Fishing, not sponsored by the way. JR paid $100 for this thing. And one thing that I will tell you is I just realized this, for $100, and it may be the powder coating on this thing, this does not line up as easy as it should. I'm not sure why. Probably because of the thickness of the powder coat. Couldn't tell you. It's good enough, solid on there. So if you look around here, there are 2 bolts that come with the Ultrex mount. They just go directly into the trolling motor here and here. And this is the mount. Again, it's $89 to $100. And then this is the knuckle or whatever they call it from the Ultrex, for the Ultrex mount. So this is where the Mega 360 goes, and you'll clamp them with some bolts on there. So again, we're going to put this on here. Again, we're not going to bore you to death with the installation of this stuff. We're going to then have to run power to this thing and run the data cable to the Helix up here. Once we get power to that, and we have this connected with power, and we have the data cable ran there, that's literally the whole installation of this thing. One of the things we're looking at here is this Garmin LiveScope. The way we have this mounted here is with the facing forward with the L bracket coming forward. I think we're going to try it out. The Mega 360, according to the instructions, should be 1 inch above the height of your prop. Well, if you look exactly where that's going to leave us, that's going to leave us right here in line with the forward-facing sonar. So we're going to try to raise it up a little bit, somewhere in this area right here. And if we get interference, we're going to have to switch this to the side and get rid of that L bracket. But that's something we can see in the future. But that might be something you'll run into. If you have your LiveScope, if you have a LiveScope set up in the front like this, you're going to have to move it to the side and have it out a little bit. But we're going to put it on here. As long as it's underwater, I think it'll be all right. But I don't feel like that you're going to get good signal down because of this. But we'll see what's up.
Sucks about all that stuff. You take your boat out on the water, something doesn't work, and then you have to take it off the water.
All right, guys, wardrobe change. Actually, day change. This is day 3 of the install. Not because it was super hard. We were just taking our time, and it was super hot here the last few days. So we do have it installed, everything except for the mount for the forward-facing sonar, which I'll show you in a second. It's in a wrong angle, but there's nothing we can do about it right now. We have to get another mount. So JR had initially here on the front, he had this Garmin 12 and a Garmin 9, and he picked up these Helix 12s used to install with the Mega 360, which is over there. We'll show you in a second. I'm really happy with the way it was installed. We've done a pretty, I'm yanking our own chain here, but I think we've done a pretty good job installing it. It looks, as professional as a shop doing it. Saved a little bit of dough. It's something that I think anybody could do if you don't, if you want to get your hands dirty a little bit, if you know anything a little bit about DC electronics, fairly simple. Only thing you need is a power on a ground, a few other things. But you can see that we did get the Humminbird Mega 360 installed. You saw it earlier in the video. This is a Bass Fishing Electronics BFE 0033 mount that connects the Ultrex Humminbird Mega 360 to the Garmin Force. Really nice bracket. I wish it would have lined up better. I think that was because of the powder coat that was thick in areas. I didn't want to grind it off, but it does work. You can see that they're all there. So we're gonna have to go out and test and tune this thing to make sure everything we can get all the images we need. But again, we got the Garmin 12 here for forward-facing sonar. We have the Humminbird Helix 12 for the Mega 360. We ran a network cable from here back to the bow through the rod locker and stuff up by all the regular stuff, and then we installed the other Helix 12 over there. Again, mostly just power, ground. We had to run a transducer on the back of the boat. JR will show you there in just a second. We ran it down there next to the Garmin that's down there. So both transducers down there. Ran the cable up through the existing wire harness, through the back of the boat, up through the rub rail of the boat. Again, we have this powered. This is networked up there. The Garmin's networked. This unit right here does not have the capabilities to use the Mega 360. So that's why this was back here. We're going to use this one for mostly side scan, down scan, and mapping. I am biased. I'm a Humminbird person anyway, so I have Solix on my boat. I do have Garmin as well, but I believe that Humminbird's second to none when it comes to mapping side and down scan. So that's why that's here. Nice and solidly mounted here. Everything's good, but we didn't bore you to death with the install, but it just proves that you can do it if you have a little ingenuity and time to get it done. So, kind of does it for this episode of On Another Line. I encourage you to get out there and try it, man. There's not really much you can do. It's 12 volt. Just make sure you keep everything separated and get the right connections and all that stuff. But JR's ready to rock and roll with forward-facing sonar, Mega 360 side and down scan from the Humminbird, and we're ready to go out and lean on them. So you guys know what to do. If you guys can, get out there and lean on them. We'll see you next time on Another Line.